Thinking of moving to Lisbon and you're not sure whether to buy or rent? Most people don't realize that making the wrong decision can cost you hundreds of thousands of euros. I'll break it down for you in this video. If this is your first time here on Living in Lisbon, go ahead and subscribe. We help people get to know the neighborhoods, the real estate, and the lifestyle here in Portugal so that you avoid costly mistakes and you're able to have a smooth move to Portugal. Let's get started. Imagine you just decided to move to Lisbon and you're looking through the online sites that show all these homes and apartments, and it's a little overwhelming and you don't know where to start. Maybe you've reached out to some realtors and they haven't gotten back to you because that happens so often in Portugal. You don't know about the hidden, unspoken cost related to buying or owning a property. You don't know what to expect from rental contracts. The whole thing is a bit overwhelming. I have helped our clients with this, and I'm going to help you too. I wrote a Google Sheet calculator so that you can see, you can plug in various numbers, you can play around with this and see what it would look like. Should you rent? Should you buy? You'll be able to plug in certain values. Here, I'll show you the inputs. So the number of years that you're going to hold it. If you're going to hold it for less than 3 years, it's possible that renting might be better, unless you want to accumulate a property that you can then rent out to others. But this video is strictly about you renting or you buying. Holding period, inflation, expected investment return if renting. So your opportunity cost for your down payment. Income tax on the difference, the savings or returns. Capital gains tax on your property gains, if applicable. Annual property value growth. This has been incredible. Who knows how long it will last, but it does seem very unlikely that property values would go down. So, and the selling costs, once you sell the property, the seller pays those. One-time landlord cost on renting, all these things. You can see the whole list here. All the upfront cost, mortgage rates, down payment percentage. We can play around with the purchase price, the annual IMI, that's the annual property tax, monthly condominium fees, home insurance, owner's utilities, rent inflation. That's something to take into account. That means the amount your rent would go up each year, projected, if you are renting an apartment instead of buying. And then these are calculated based on known rates for some of them, and then rates that we're putting in here for our scenarios for others. So, and then you have your results. I love numbers. I absolutely love numbers, and I love helping my clients so that you can make decisions based not just on emotion, but grounded in the numbers. So this is going to show you the monthly mortgage payment, your initial cash to buy. So that's not just the down payment, but it's all the fees, the stamp duty, the transfer tax, registration, and then these. It's pretty self-explanatory, but if you look down here, this shows you after a certain number of years which is better. And if it's positive, then it favors that option. So buying here is positive, renting is negative. So the difference is not only would you not be out this 521,000, but you would be positive the 734. So you would add those together to get the absolute financial impact of buying versus renting. So this shows you year by year, and then this is an area where you can compare different areas. So the Avenida das Novas, Parque das Nações, Cascais, Sintra, and you can see what the annual property value growth might be as it varies from city to city, neighborhood to neighborhood, because that is something to take into account. For instance, Marvilla in the last year, I believe, increased by 24% in property value. So I would advise not to use that as an assumption for your calculations, but just to show you what the upside could be. Okay, I am going to show you some areas so you can see what you would get for a rent. Let's say your rental budget is 2,000. You're going to spend 2,000 euros on rent versus what you would be able to get for about 2,000 euros per month if you owned the property. And then over time, what would happen? If this all seems complicated, just imagine doing this without a calculator or just doing it blindly and just seeing how it all works out. So if you'd like the calculator, check the link in the description. I'm happy to send it to you. I'll add you to my email list so that I can let you know about other amazing things like this, which you could obviously opt out of if you wanted. But this calculator, I'm so proud of, and I think it will help you. So I'm going to run some scenarios so you can see this in action. This calculator is really powerful, and it's good for you just to have it. That way, when you're looking at properties, you're considering different properties, different neighborhoods, you can give thought to it and put in a comparison. You can set up a comparison. So these are examples for Avenidas Novas, Parques Nações, Cascais, and Sintra, but it could be anything. And you can do a retrospective analysis to see if you had purchased versus rented, say 5 years ago. Plug in with actual, now that we know, because hindsight's 2020, put in the actual property appreciation, rent appreciation, and you can see what the difference is. And that is great, and that will probably just knock your socks off. But going forward, I would encourage you to run at least one that's very conservative, because we don't have our crystal balls, and I want to make sure that that I don't lead you astray for some crazy real estate scheme. I want this to be grounded in whatever level of risk that you might be willing to take on. But this annual property value growth that we're using here is from 2.5 to 3.2% year after year. I will say is much lower than the property value growth has proven to be, even over the last 10 years. There are times when it has been in some pretty significant double digits. So just know that that's possible, but you should never count on it. I'm certainly not qualified to advise on a financial investment necessarily, but I can help you run the numbers for the real estate. And I absolutely love spreadsheets. So you can set this up here, adding any cells that you want. So the property appreciation, property growth, the purchase price, you can play around with the down payment. The IMT is going to be calculated on the summary, and then you can put in your rent amount. Let's say you want to rent at a much higher rent value, because there are rents that are well over 10,000 euros, well over 10,000 euros, but that's not the norm. So if you are focused on growing your equity, and you think, oh, okay, well, I'm single and I don't mind having a very modest place for a little while, and you put in a maybe 1,500 or maybe 1,000. Maybe you're just gonna live with someone, and just see how that plays out. Even it's this is so much fun for me. So this is the main place where you put your inputs, all these in this yellow area here. So currently I have a purchase price of 1.2 million. So this is the transfer tax that's calculated automatically. It see, it has quite a complicated formula there based on the government specified percentages, and that vary in a tiered fashion. The mortgage term, mortgage interest rate, you may very well have a lower interest rate. Down payment. Keep in mind, if you are able to take advantage of the Young Buyers Program, meaning you're 35 or younger, between 18 and 35 inclusive, then you won't even have any of the upfront cost. Be sure to check out my video on that. And that is really going to make a big difference between renting versus buying. So put in whatever you're going to put in here. And then this is where it tells you after in years. So in this case, the calculations are set up to look at after 10 years, but you could change it to 3 years or 20 years, whatever you'd like. But that's what we're using for the in. Seems reasonable. And this shows the year after year. And you see this is year 10, yes, which unfortunately falls on row 11, but it's year 10. That's the 1,612,000, and that's what you see right there. Okay, so if you'd like the spreadsheet, just message me. I'll probably have a link set up in the description for you, but otherwise just message me if there's no link. You can email me and I'd be happy to get that for you so you can play around with your own numbers. And be sure to subscribe. Please like it if this has been helpful at all, and please share with others who might enjoy playing around with the spreadsheets. My team and I would be happy to help you to have your own smooth move to Lisbon, Portugal. We can help you get access to the off-market listings, on-market listings, our credit brokers, schools. We're happy to help with everything.